Hi BCom students. In this video we will see the provisions with regard to deductions under section 80C to 80U and the format for computation of tax liability. Myself Dr. A. Devi, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, KCS Kazinagar College of Arts and Science. The format for computation of net taxable income of an individual is you add all 5 heads of income like salary income, income from house property, business income or profession gain, capital gain and income from other sources. By adding all these 5 heads of income, we will get gross total income, from which the deductions under section 80C to 80U are to be deducted to find net total income, and the tax liability to be computed only on this net total income after deducting that 80C to 80U. Deductions. The Act says that the entire income which is computed or need not to be taxed. Certain deductions they are permitting based on the investments or the contribution or the donation which was made by the assessee. Deductions allowed under the Income Tax Act help an individual to reduce the taxable income. There are a number of deductions available under various sections that will bring down the taxable income. Let us discuss some of the important deductions under Chapter 6A, that is sections 80C to 80U, that a taxpayer can claim. Provisions with regard to deductions under section 80C to 80U are tabulated for your easy references. In this particular slide, we will see deductions under section 80C, CCC, CCD and CCG. And all these C's sections are related to investments or the future savings like that. First, we will see 80C. The list given here or the amount which was invested or the qualifying amount. First one, LIC insurance premium, statutory provident fund, public provident fund, recognized provident fund, national savings scheme, national savings certificate, units of UTI, NABOD. Repayment of house loan, if any, is also a qualifying amount under 80C. Then term deposit with bank, 5 years term deposit scheme, post office. Then tuition fees paid for their children during the previous year, deferred annuity payment, then superannuation fund, group insurance premium, then ULIP, that is unit linked insurance policy, etc. All these are the amount or qualifying amount. With regard to LIC, the LIC must be taken for their for his own or spouse and children. For others, it is not eligible, and the amount is also restricted. Actual premium paid by an assessee or 10% of the sum assured of a policy, whichever is less is qualifying amount. The amount of deductions are, and all these are qualifying amount or not a deductible amount. Add together, that will be of total qualifying amount, and which is to be compared with a notified amount of 1,50,000, and whichever is less is allowable deductions. 80CCC, this is for the pension scheme under LIC or any other institution. Here the allowable amount of deduction is amount invested or 1,50,000, whichever is less is allowable deduction. And the section 80CCD is for pension scheme of central government, and this is applicable for the assessee who are working in central government. Employee contribution or 10% of salary, whichever is less is allowable deduction. And not only that, in addition to that, employer contribution or 10% of salary, whichever is less, is also allowable deduction. Here 10% of salary is given, which means salary, we need to have a meaning for the word salary. Here salary is equal to basic salary plus TA forming part plus commission on turnover. Then 80CCD, amount deposited to NPS account and Atal Pension Yojana. For this, the amount invested or rupees 50,000, whichever is less, is allowable as deduction. However, in aggregate of 80C, 80CCC, 80CCD and should not exceed maximum of rupees 1,50,000. Then we will move on for 80CCG. Interest and equity savings scheme unlisted units of equity fund is eligible, and here the condition is GTI does not exceed 12 lakh rupee, and the allowable deductions are 50% of investment or rupees 25,000, whichever is less is allowable deduction, and this deduction is allowable for first 3 years only. Deductions under section 80D, DD, DDB and 80E. 80D, this is for health insurance premium. If an assessee taken any health insurance policy and paying a premium for his own spouse or and dependent children, then the allowable deduction is the actual premium amount paid by him or the limit of rupees 25,000, whichever is less is allowable deduction. Plus, if an health insurance premium is being paid for his parent, whether they are dependent or not dependent, the allowable deduction is least of the following, that is actual premium paid by him or the notified limit of rupees 25,000. In case of senior citizen is there in that group, then the notified limit will become 30,000. However, together the health insurance premium deductions should not exceed 50,000. The condition is the payment must be paid other than cash. In addition to that, he is eligible for taking a deduction if suppose he spent money for medical checkup. The maximum of 5,000 is eligible. So the actual medical checkup expenses to be compared with 5,000 and least to be taken as deduction. 80DD, if an assessee is responsible for treatment of any handicapped dependent, then he is eligible for taking a deduction of fixed amount of rupees 75,000 per annum. If an dependent is severe disabled, then a fixed amount of rupees 1,25,000 is eligible as deduction irrespective of the amount he spent for their treatment. And it need not be amount spent, it might be deposited in LIC, mutual fund, UTI for the treatment. 80DDB, any medical expenditure spent by an assessee for taking in treatment for specified disease which is listed in the Act, and the treatment should be for his own or spouse or children, parent or any dependent, then the allowable deduction is actual medical expenses he spent or rupees 40,000, whichever is less. In case of senior citizen, the actual expenses to be compared with rupees 1 lakh and least to be taken as a deduction. In case of super senior citizen, the actual medical expenses can be compared with rupees 80,000 and least can be taken as deduction. 80E, this is the section available for an individual to take a deduction for if suppose he pays any interest on education loan, the loan taken for his own spouse or children, then the actual interest amount he is paying can be taken as an deduction. But this should be taken up to 8 years from the year of repayment of such loan amount. Deductions under section 80G, GG and GGC. 80G is for donation. Act has classified the donation into without limit donation and with limit donation, which means under without limit, the limit is not being restricted with an income, whereas in with limit, the donation amount is being restricted to the income earned by an assessee. Let me see in detail. Without limit donations, here the donations are classified into 100% allowable deduction and 50% allowable deduction, which means certain list of donations under which if an assessee donated, the entire amount of donation is allowable deduction, whereas the 50% allowable deductions are the list of donations under which if an assessee donated, the amount donated, out of the amount donated, only 50% of his donation will be treated as an allowable deduction. With limit, that is restricted donation, the list of donations which was given under the restricted donations list, add together, the total donated amount will come, and that is to be compared with 10% of adjusted GTI. Whichever is less will become a qualifying amount, which means his total donation is being restricted with the 10% of adjusted GTI, and this will become a qualifying amount. We will see out of this qualifying amount how much will become an allowable deduction. Let's see, if there is any donation given for family planning or for Olympic Association, then 100% of such donation is allowable out of the qualifying amount, and see to that should not exceed the qualifying amount. And after adjusting these two donations amount, if there is any remaining donation amount under qualifying amount, 50% of such qualifying amount is allowable deduction. The meaning for adjusted GTI is GTI minus long-term capital gain plus short-term capital gain on listed shares plus share of AOP BOI firm plus deductions under section 80C to 80U except 80G. Let me move on to 80GG. This is the section available if an assessee is paying house rent. The condition, he should not have any own house in the same area, and he should not in receipt of HRA. In such case, least of the following three is allowable deduction. Number 1, 25% of adjusted GTI. Number 2, actual rent paid by him minus 10% of salary. 10% of adjusted GTI. Number 3, rupees 5,000 per month is allowable deduction. Adjusted GTI is equal to GTI minus long-term capital gain plus short-term capital gain on sale of listed shares plus share of AOP BOI firm plus deductions under section 80C to 80U except 80GG. Actually, share of AOP BOI firm is not being a part of GTI. If suppose a problem contains that these are all being inclusive in GTI, then you must exclude the same. 80GGC, if an assessee paid any donation to political party, 80GGC can be claimed. The entire amount which he has given as a donation is allowable deduction. The payment must be other than cash. In this slide, the list of donations which are eligible as per IT is being listed out under three categories, that is without limit and with limit, and under with limit, that is of restricted donations. Any donations given for the local authority, charitable institute, education institutions will come, and in addition to that, any donations given for promotion of family planning and Indian Olympic Association will come. And deductions under section without limit is being classified into 100%, 50%. Under 50%, only 4 donations are listed out, that is of Prime Minister Draft Relief Fund, Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Fund, Indira Gandhi Memorial Trust, and Rajiv Gandhi Foundation Fund. Only these 4 are the 50% allowable deductions donation list. So other than these 4, the entire donations will comes under 100% allowable donations. So please go through the list and have it in mind, so that you can easily apply into the solving the problems. Deductions under section 80TTA and 80U. 80TTA, interest on savings bank account, for which the total interest earned by an assessee or rupees 10,000, whichever is less, is allowable deductions. And this 10,000 is in addition to that 3,500 which is allowable for the post office savings account. So there the 3,500 can be deducted in computation of income itself, and this 10,000 under 80TTA can be deducted after finding the GTI. Then this 80TTA can be deducted. And 80U is a section, if an assessee himself a physical handicapped or a disabled person Then the 75,000, the fixed amount of 75,000 per annum is taken as an allowable deduction. If he is a severe disabled person and fixed amount of rupees 1,25,000 per annum is allowable deduction. Computation of tax liability, which means the tax amount which is liable by an individual to pay. Take his net total income, see to that there is any long-term capital gain, short-term capital gain subject to STT and casual income out of his total income. If it is so, the tax rate is different for these three incomes. So take long-term capital gain, apply 20% of tax rate and find the tax amount. Take short-term capital gain subject to STT, apply 15% of tax rate and find the tax amount. Take casual income, apply 30% of tax rate and find the tax amount. And after charging tax for these incomes, see whether there is any surplus income in the hands of individual which exceeds rupees 2,50,000. Then you apply the slab. If it is not exceeding 2,50,000, below 2,50,000 and any deficit there, that must be adjusted in long-term capital gain and short-term capital gain. Only the casual income is compulsory, whereas the long-term capital gain and short-term capital gain, if it is income for below 2,50,000, then it need not be taxed. After charging tax for these three incomes, if it is any remaining income in the hands of an assessee, apply the slab. First 2,50,000, the tax rate is nil, he need not to pay anything. If his income falls between 2,50,000 and 5 lakh, take that amount which exceeds rupees 2,50,000 and apply 5% tax rate. If his income falls between 5 lakh and 10 lakh, take the amount which exceeds 5 lakhs and apply 20% tax rate. If his income crosses 10 lakh, then take the amount which exceeds rupees 10 lakh and apply 30% tax rate, find the tax amount. Now add all the tax amount together. This will become tax on income. And the rebate under section 87A is eligible as a deduction for an individual if his income does not exceed rupees 3,50,000. The allowable deduction is rupees 2,500 or tax on income, whichever is less. After deducting this, the assessee will get total tax amount, for which he must apply 4% as health and education cess and find the tax liability. If suppose an income exceeds rupees 50 lakhs or rupees 1 crore, then an assessee is responsible for surcharge. So surcharge is to be added on tax on income at the rate of 10% if it incomes exceeds 50 lakhs and 15% if it is incomes exceeds 1 crore. This 10% and 15% is to be applied on tax on income. Because the surcharge is nothing but tax on tax. So adding this surcharges to the tax on income, an assessee will get total tax amount, and in addition to that he must pay health and education cess at the rate of 4% to find his actual tax liability. Points to remember: any deficit for slab rupees 2,50,000 can adjusted in long-term capital gain and then in short-term capital gain. Second condition, both rebate and surcharge is not possible in one computation. Either a rebate or a surcharge is to be applied. Then health and education cess at the rate of 4% is compulsory, whatever be the tax amount. Then tax on casual income is compulsory, whatever be his income. If his income contains casual income, that must be taxed, and health and education cess is to be applied for the tax amount. In case of senior citizen or a super senior citizen, in the slab, the limit is 3 lakh and 5 lakh respectively. I hope the videos which I was posted will help you to have a revision from your exam point of view, BCom students, and all the very best for your end semester exams. Thank you for patiently listening these videos.